Unfleshed podcast. This is episode 13. And today we're going to bring in SP Durnan. Did I say that right?
Yes. How you guys doing?
Pretty good, actually. So I kind of got a head start with our interview going through some of your Amazon. And one of the things that really stuck out with me was you were part of the Ed Hell's Gates anthology.
Yes, the most recent one. It's there have been 3 of them so far. I didn't get to be in on the first 2, but I didn't know about it until now. It's basically to benefit the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund, and none of the proceeds go to any of the authors. It all goes to that charity. So.
And from my understanding, it's actually pretty hard to get on to that anthology.
I think it is. I don't know for sure because I wasn't involved in the inner workings of it. I had an idea for a story. I had bouncing around for a little while, and I was talking actually with Devin Segliani. He wrote Zombie Attack 1 and 2 and 3 and Undead LA. He was like, "You got to submit this." And I was like, "Oh, okay, here you go." I just thought it was something I threw together and turned out making it in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, and I understand it's like a continuous thing that goes on. Is that correct? Like every year or something?
Well, I don't know if it's yearly. I think they just I know there's another one that's going to be coming up. The submission deadline I think is in December. So
Yeah.
they're gonna put it out again next year. So it very well may be. I didn't get the particulars on it that closely. So I just thought it was a really cool thing to do. A nice charity. It definitely benefits some good people. So I was there.
Right. Well, good deal. I applaud you for that. That's awesome. So about how long have you been writing in general?
Only like 2 or 3 years, if that. I've admitted this freely before. I kind of fell into being an author through the back door. I had this idea, and I thought, I'll never get to read that unless I write it. So I got a little blog on WordPress. Wrote a chapter every couple of weeks or so. Figured I'd have some fun. People tell me I suck. That'd be the end of it. Did not turn out that way. After a few months, I had like 3,000-4,000 readers, which isn't much in the grand scheme of things, but way more than I thought I'd have. Because what do I know from writing a novel? I produced comic book pages for a living for a while there. I didn't have anything to do with the writing segment of it. But I eventually subbed to Permuted, and they snapped it up, man.
Yeah. Well, I would say probably based off of what books I've seen that you put out, you're kind of into a lot of the zombie style books.
Yes, and I've admitted this before too. Probably read more zombie fiction than is healthy. I'm pretty sure a psychologist couch is in my future at some point. I've been, I guess, a fan, if not a big fan of the zombie culture since about '84. I caught the Dawn Day double feature like on the big screen at a drive-in, and for those few hours, it's like the world just suspended, man, and reality went bye-bye. I thought, wow, that's really how it would feel after an apocalypse, and it just sucked me in from there. I started reading, playing, watching everything zombie and apocalypse-based ever since. I mean, I even went so far as to buy the DVD of that old made-for-TV Damnation Alley with George Papard, for God's sakes. It's right over there on the DVD shelf. Not too big on, the ecological or 2014 or the Armageddon asteroid-based apocalypses, but something with a little more girth to it, let's say.
Nice. Well, so you definitely have passion for it all. You also have, I think you have passion, anyways, for comics in general.
I do. When I think back on this. When I was about 12 or 13, I think, I was here in Buckeye Town, Zombieland, literally is where I live, Columbus, Ohio. And I got to meet Chris Claremont. Not a lot of people know who he is. He was the co-creator and writer for years and years and years for the X-Men and the Uncanny X-Men, long before the movies, long before the cartoons and all this stuff where, Hugh Jackman snaked all that stuff. I'm talking like the glory years, right? I think there may be, 20 people there for like 5 or 6 hours he was there, and I just kept going back through the line to talk to this guy. He was just amazing. He's written novels too. He actually did continuations on that movie Willow. The books are really good. But he was just really nice to a young punk back when I was a young punk instead of an old punk. I would read his work or his stories, and I would look up from those books, and the world would look better. It wouldn't be that bad anymore. I was like, God damn, I need to do that for at least one person over the course of my life. And it's a really nice feeling, at least judging from the Amazon reviews that I'm getting here. I'm not going to plug the books. It's a really good feeling, that I got to share a thought. It's
somebody reading your book and actually loving it and having that response of, hey, this is a great book, Yeah, I can see where that feels good. So where are you going from here? What's your next project, if you have one? Do you have one lined up, or?
Yeah, I've actually already turned in book 3 of the series. I'm working on book 4 right now. 3 is going to be Assuming Room Temperature. Book 4, the working title I got right now is Death and Taxes. So, but after that, these characters are going to be done. That's it. There's not going to be any the further adventures of, or the lost years or anything like that. It's that universe is fun to play in, and I might stay in there for a little while with a different core group. But the characters in the first 4, they're going to either become zombie kibble, or they're going to ride off into the apocalyptic sunset. And I can't promise that for everybody right off the bat, so start the Tar and Feather campaign now. But I've got a couple more set in the same universe planned. I've also got about 3 different series outlined right now that have absolutely nothing to do with zombies. Not a lot. I've admitted this kind of not freely, but occasionally. I really don't like zombies. I was never a huge fan, so of course the first series I have to write is all about them. Funny how the universe works, isn't it? It's not a fear thing. It's a disgust thing. They piss me off. The idea of a hungry, mobile corpse is offensive to me. It's not that I want to cleanse them from human memory, but I'm glad nothing like that hopefully exists, because I can't imagine we'd come out on top. I mean, you can't count on the government to come save you if something like that did happen, God forbid. They couldn't even get water to one city during a hurricane, for God's sake. They can't even monitor their own taxation bureau, the IRS. But nobody's going to take care of an outbreak like that for whatever country it may be in. It's just not possible. It would have to be done by normal people.
Wow. Good outlook. Thanks for sharing that. Wow.
Well, no, and kind of coming into the zombie field, and there's hundreds upon hundreds of zombie authors out there. What do you think that you kind of bring to the table that hasn't been brought yet?
Well, I didn't want to write novels about that uber hero. There is a focus for the story, but they're not perfect. They're not. I hate to use this analogy again, but they're not shooting a chain gun with this hand and dragging 3 hotties with this one yelling, "Get to the chopper!" He's not perfect. He's kind of inept. He's got a lot of self-doubt. It's almost crippling. He tries to do the right thing, but he's not actually physically able to do everything he attempts. He gets saved a lot. People have really received the female characters well, because literally they're the ones that are saving his ass half the time. The core character Jake and the 2 females, Kat and Laurel. I mean, there are about 8 other characters tossed in from the get-go. But these aren't trained soldiers. There's a couple in there, but they're not there in the beginning. They hole up with his landlord. a normal dude. You know, he's a ghostwriter. He edits cookbooks. His best friend's an auto mechanic. Laurel's a pharmacy tech. Kat's a pharmacy tech, and Laurel runs a health food store. So there's no spec warriors in it from the start. That they're not going to be running and gunning their way out of the city. They're going to hide.
That sounds interesting, man.
Yeah.
Wow. And how do you come up? I ask this question a lot, but how do you come up with your characters? Is it something you draw down, you think about, dream about, or you have a lot of characters going on, it sounds like.
Yeah, I didn't want perfect individuals. Let's put it that way. There are plenty of stories out there, movies, games, books, whatever, with, again, the uber hero. And I'm not going to down people who write or produce those. They're fun. I read them, I play them, I watch them. I just didn't want to create one. I wanted to take pretty normal people and throw them into the worst scenario that I can think of. I mean, a pandemic alone where 99% of the population on the planet dies is pretty bad. But when they get up again after death and start eating that last 1%, I think that's pretty much the most awful thing I can think of, period. I wanted to see how people would react to that, play around with their actions, their thoughts, how they would deal. And I'll admit this freely, a lot of people have given me shit about how much various characters try to hook up with each other. Well, a couple years back, when book 1 came out, long before a certain zombie show, after show, had Abram on it, he flat out said, what the hell else is there to do? There's no TV, there's no internet, people be hooking up left and right. I think that's pretty close to what would happen. In stressful situations, it gets your juices flowing, and if you survive it, you're like, God, I want to do something. Hey, you're pretty hot. That's the way it goes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
I definitely see that. It's almost, kind of like a responsibility, try to repopulate the earth.
Yeah, with that many people dead, I'd have to say so. And don't get me wrong, it's not like, wow, I'm going to catch some hell for this. It's not like the dino porn or, a bodice ripper or anything like that. The little bit of kind of adult situations there, I tried to do tastefully and not, it's not the Playboy Channel. Okay, let's put it that way, or Skinamax.
Hell yeah. Well, this is a question that I ask everybody. What is one question that you're never asked, but if you were asked, would explain a lot more about you?
Oh, damn. I'd have to say, looking at me, come on, I'm a geek. I admit I'm a geek. I look like a geek. I look like a trailer park Harry Potter, man. Come on. It's the teeth. I'd have to say nobody's ever asked me what got me started in fantasy and fiction in general. One very simple answer, Star Wars. I have been cracked out for Star Wars my entire life. Yes, I admit it, there is a toy lightsaber back there. I love Lord of the Rings, I love Game of Thrones, but you know what? Any fan of the genre will tell you they wanted to be a Jedi. And you know what? There's a really funny pair of videos on YouTube. And I think one is called 9 in the morning and the other is called 6 in the afternoon or 6 in the evening, about these 3 guys. They're just like playing video games and their doorbell rings and there's this box. And they open it up and it's 3 lightsabers. And they're like, no way, they couldn't possibly be real. And they're real. And it's like a comedy. It turns out George Lucas distributes all these actual lightsabers to cause Armageddon and all this stuff. But, one guy sits out. It's just a really fun universe, I think, the whole Star Wars genre. Unfortunately, my youngest daughter is why we'll never have lightsaber technology in our lifetime, because she will sit out in a heartbeat. She's watched too much Doctor Who. She roots for the villains. She'd be over there with the Emperor, like, good, let the hate flow through you.
Well, I'm a big Star Wars is my absolute favorite movies of all time. I don't care what it is. I'm a big superhero fan, but George Lucas is brilliant in my opinion, anyways, on how he even started Star Wars and the technology that happened at that time when the first trilogy was set out. But so you're a big Star Wars fan, which is way kick ass for me because I love them. But what's your outtake on the new Star Wars that's going to be coming out and everything with all that?
I hope they're really good. I've got some hopes about them. I hope that they live up to the hype. Let's put it that way. A couple things right off the bat. I will admit, like a lot of people out there, I think the lightsabers on the side of the hill, stupid idea. The first time you twirl that, you're cutting your hands off. I love the fact they brought in Han Solo and Chewbacca, aged. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I agree with that, but shouldn't Chewbacca have aged a little bit? Because I would have thought, unless I'm just like maybe a couple of gray straggly hairs or something.
I don't know, because I guess, at least from like all the material, like the novels anyway, Wookiees live for like hundreds and hundreds of years, so he may not age.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now, granted, funny you bring that up. The only time I've seen that addressed, including the awful episodes 1 and 2, and I'm not talking the originals like Star Wars or Empire. I'm talking like when Anakin was a kid and then an angsty teen. Those were terrible. They had some older looking Wookiees on there, and at least it wasn't that awful Cosmic Christmas, the Star Wars Christmas special. Have you ever seen that? I guarantee George Lucas wants that wiped from human memory, but I have a copy, George, so you're not getting it. You want something awful? Han Solo, Princess Leia, all the Star Wars characters breaking spontaneously into song. And the only reason that's still around is that was the first appearance in cartoon form of Boba Fett.
I'll be damned. I did not know that.
First mention of him ever was in that. And it was, it's campy and terrible, but they have like Chewbacca's family on the Wookiee planet. I can't pronounce it, but they've got his grandfather or father's gray and his little kid brother and all this stuff. But I really enjoyed the fact that they're at least going to bring them back. Hopefully Carrie Fisher, hopefully Mark Hamill. I'd like to see how their characters end up in Lucas's mind as opposed to just in the novels, which they're saying are like their own separate what-if universe now.
And I've always said that you had, Princess Leia was at the end wearing all white, which represents the good side, and, at the Ewok village and all that shit, and fucking, Luke Skywalker was wearing all the black, so I could see maybe Luke becoming to the dark side and Princess Leia being the good side. I don't know. I'm anxious for it. Look, TJ's getting bored. He's like, dude.
I'm a big Star Wars fan. I wasn't a fan of Star Trek, but I did like Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah, besides which, I married a redhead, so I'd really like to see Luke's wife, Mara Jade. Redheads with lightsabers, that's entertainment right there. They don't even have to be dressed like strippers. They could be in like monk robes and I won't care.
I love this guy. So like outside of all that, how do you see yourself in the next 5 years, say, in the writing world as Peter?
Well, I'll still probably be doing exactly what I'm doing, producing, a book or two a year. I'm not going to lie. I never thought I'd be doing this for a career, and I still don't. I work in healthcare. I take care of special needs kids and Alzheimer's patients, and hospice patients. I enjoy doing that too. This is like an outlet for me. After that first book was written, it started like waking me up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and it still does. I won't lie. I sometimes pray for writer's block just so I can get a good night's sleep. I feel bad for authors that get it. I haven't experienced it yet at all. it's like I don't have an off switch for it, and this doesn't work. You can only drink so much. Is that a Jason Voorhees mask up there?
Oh yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it's a replica.
And that's JLA right there. There you go. See, I was a big fan of JLA and Justice League Europe, man, when it was going, like the Bart Sears years, late 80s, I think it was. When it was funny, the JLA and the JLE, they had like the Teasdale Imperative, and what was another big one? Every time Lobo would show up and him and Guy Gardner would have to go head to head. That was great.
I think Jason Voorhees kind of brought me into the whole, I guess, horror field. It wasn't my very first horror I guess I'd ever watched, but it was definitely one of the first ones I took to. That and Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead to me was just phenomenal whenever I was younger. And, I even have the original still to this day. We watched it not too long ago.
Nice.
That's, to me, that was back whenever horror was still horror. And, it wasn't, I guess, necessarily going for gore factors behind trying to get the attention. You actually had the shock factor. You had the scare factor. And to me, that was important. So, I mean, even in my writing, I will write kind of new age, but I always bring that 80s back into what I'm doing because I really feel like that, today's horror is missing that.
Well, I mean, if you're going to get into horror, Jason Voorhees there is a good place to start with the original because he was, as far as I can remember, he was the first quote-unquote supernatural style slasher.
I agree.
Yeah.
All these, the camp movies were all based off of him originally.
Yeah.
I really don't like the remakes of Halloween or Freddy Krueger, The Nightmare on Elm Street. I just couldn't get into them, man.
I haven't got really into any of the remakes. The only remake that I've seen to where I thought it was even worth the shit was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That was good.
The Hills Have Eyes. I'm going to say Hills Have Eyes too. I enjoyed The Hills Have Eyes. I mean, come on now, that was pretty old. And Mr. Durnan, if you don't mind, I bring this up once in a blue moon. Since we started this podcast, TJ knows what I'm going to ask, I'm sure. But you seem very down to earth, and I like how your mind operates some. So I have to ask you, would you classify Jaws as horror? Don't say nothing, TJ.
As horror.
Yeah. Horror.
You know what? Maybe as a kid, it would be thought of as horror. Because to this day, my wife just admitted this to me a couple weeks ago. When she saw Jaws, she sat like huddled up on the couch after the first scene with the shark where the chick got pulled down. And sorry, spoilers if no one's actually seen Jaws, whatever. Right now, I would think, like from teen years on, I wouldn't think so. I would say it's more like an action suspense, not particularly horror per se. The third and fourth movies, I would say, God, yes, they were horrors. But the first and seconds were I thought were outstanding.
Well, from the second and then on, it was a horror that they even had them on the TV anymore. To me, it kind of went off in left field. But for its date and time, I mean, it was released out as a horror.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it,
I mean, it did have its, I guess, certain jump scenes. It did have, a hint of, the whole gore and all that. People getting eaten alive and all that. So, I mean, I still would classify it as horror just because of that fact. Now, comparing it to this day and age of films, no, I would definitely say it more of a suspense. But, me and him argue about this constantly.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to say, like I said, from like teenage years on, no. But when it came out, I was a kid. I was, what's that damn word, tween or whatever. I was 10, somewhere between 9 and 14, I think. At that point, yeah, that was pretty hardcore for the time because mean, what did you have then? You had the original Halloween. You had the original Friday the 13th. There was kind of, you had, thank God, you had the Romero films, but there was kind of a vacuum for good horror up until that point. The fact that Spielberg's name on it is, whatever, but you have to remember they weren't that well known back then. It's like what they had: Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Star Wars, E.T., and Jaws were really their breakout movies that made them giants in the industry.
Yeah. Well, I think that still makes me right there, Shani Poo.
Not really. I'll still ask it once in a while with other authors, so I don't give a shit.
Sorry, I just noticed you're actually wearing, TJ, you're wearing Jake, the main character from KYCH's shirt.
Oh, the CBGB?
The CBGB shirt. Yeah, that's like he's like wearing that through half the first book, man.
Well, that's awesome, man. I used to be in a band, and I got this at, the CBGB. I was thinking this one was the one in New York, but we've got to play at, so. This one's actually getting too small for me, and my wife wears it way more than I do.
That's sexy right there. A friend of mine by the name of Keith Cosno grew up in that area, and he hung out that whole scene. He got to meet Joey Ramone when they were still like small time, local, the whole deal. And I'll never forget the story because he laughed at the guy afterwards. This guy was like, one of these enormous, quote unquote punk rockers, and they were playing a show there, and I guess Keith was on his way outside to smoke, and Joey Ramone and Dee Dee Ramone were going out, and this guy's out there in a t-shirt, and he's giving everybody shit for wearing a jacket. And, they wore their biker jackets all the time, man. And Joey looks at the guy, and he bums the smoke off Keith, and he goes, "Hey, man, Mother Nature doesn't care how punk rock you are. It's still going to be cold." I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah.
That's damn good advice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my random shout it out that we do in every episode. This is a little segment where I'm going to ask you a topic.
You're not asking, you're saying a topic.
I'm going to ask you a topic. You just, whatever it may be, okay? The topic I'm asking CP Durnan is this: fanny packs.
Oh, dude. I won't say they're awful. I can't say that because what do I have? Let's see here. It's not a fanny pack. If I even have it right here, I probably don't. I've actually got a, God, where did I put it? Probably left it in my damn car. I have a little bag, like a daily carry bag, that I carry stuff around in just because, I've needed stuff so much, I just carry it around at this point. Like, I have an little LED flashlight, my vaporizer, a pair of channel locks, a little Stanley 4-in-1 screwdriver, a Maxpedition pack. It's just about that big, and I put it on my belt when I'm with a client. I think it's a good idea, but bad construction. I'd like for that thing to be able to rip away if somebody grabs onto it, just because I don't want to be dragged down the street if somebody happens to want my wallet. Granted, I have my CCL, CCW now, and they're going to get a surprise if they try, but I don't know. The fanny packs, I think it'd be really easy to get caught on something, like say you're jumping a fence. It's possible you could catch it in the back and just be hanging from the fence. I only say that because a friend of mine did that with his belt once. He jumped a 6-foot fence and he's just hanging up there going, "Help me, help me." But I honestly think, other than just pockets, which women don't use anyway, they have a purse. I've seen my wife pull garden tools. I'm not kidding. Full-sized garden shears out of her damn purse. I think a little pack or something to carry around, just what you use every day, even if it's just like your wallet and your keys, so you don't have to rifle through your pockets for everything. You just have it right there. It's probably a good idea. I can't believe I can't find that stupid pack. I take it everywhere. I probably left it in my car, like a moron.
But as long as you don't have a satchel and call it a man purse.
No, not that far. Now, I will admit this. I've kept a bag in the back of my car. I upgraded to a bug-out bag about 14 or 15 years ago, but I used to keep a bag in the back of my car just in case I woke up in a strange place, which happened a few times in college. I've got the basics in there. I'm not going to, take my pack and hoof it from Ohio to Florida. I'd never make it. But, I've got some water tabs. I've got a watch, just a watch cap. I've got a bright orange shirt that I could use to flag somebody down. I've got a road flare. So if it's at night, I can toss it out, have a couple hours. The next semi that comes along won't pancake my car. Just some basic stuff. I probably wouldn't even do that if I didn't have a family. But once my wife and kids came along, I kind of took that stuff a little bit more seriously, especially writing zombie fiction. You just get stuck into it, man. You really do. You can take it too far really easy. I'll admit I have prepped a little bit. I don't have 25 years of food in my basement or anything, so don't be afraid. I've got a few weeks, a couple months worth of stuff that, if something bad did happen, I could get by with them. I've got the big mutt right here. I can't stand those awful little rats.
How would you, in a zombie apocalypse, open up your, say you have no electricity, no can opener or anything like that, how would you open up a canned good?
Well, those are really tiny little can opener things that used to be like military issue only. They're really small ones.
Yeah.
There's one in my dashboard right now in my glove compartment. I keep one in all my bags and the bag I made for my wife. But I saw a trick, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and I watched it on YouTube, and I actually tried it, and it works. You take a can and you find a concrete. Asphalt doesn't really work too well. You find a concrete wall or a pair of steps or whatever, and you turn it on the top, and you just rub the shit out of the top of that can, man. And eventually, that sealant wears away, and then say you've got a credit card or a debit card or keys might work. I haven't tried that because I have one of those card sharps. It's like a credit card size. It folds up and it's a little field scalpel, and you can just pop the top of that thing right off after you wear that sealant away. It's great.
Yeah, I watched the same video. Yeah, and I've actually done the same. Yeah, and I've done the exact same test, and it works, man. We just rub, and then yep.
Yeah, I mean it takes a while, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Do you come from a military background?
I do. My dad was a military lifer. He started off in the Air Force, did for one stint, got bored, so he joined the Army. He was first corpsman, then he was a LPN, then he became an RN, then he became a nurse anesthetist. So he would put people under anesthesia. He retired just before Presidio closed. So I got to live there for a couple years, which was just awesome. I can't believe they closed that base. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because I really wanted to, I never got to serve. I have a couple of replacement parts, and when you tell them you had a knee replacement at 22, they don't really want to talk to you, let alone the pins in my ribs, holding them together. Unfortunately, doom on them. I've done parkour for about a year, so I'm pretty physically capable even after 40, so I think I could have hoofed that pack. That's just me. My hat is off to anybody that's been over in the sandbox. I don't care if you're a guy, girl, black, white, Asian, gay, straight. I don't care. You put your freaking life on the line for me, my family, and all of us. You deserve our respect.
Well, and that's why I asked you, because I did 8 years military and a year and a half in the sandbox, and I can kind of tell somewhat of a military bearing coming from you.
Well, dude, you got my respect, man. Seriously. I cannot imagine the hell you guys have gone through over there. I mean, the stories that I get from people alone, I'm sure they don't even cover it. And you know what? I have to comment on this because I know you guys have seen it all over the Facebook feeds, and like Thomas Wolfenden, another promoted author, said, I'm ready to poke my eyes out about it. The two soldiers, I think one was National Guard, and I can't remember what the other one is, over in France that just stopped that dude with an
on the train?
AK-47. Yeah, on the train. You know what? That's a well-deserved ass-kicking right there. He's lucky he didn't get killed. You know, just walking onto a train and mowing people down, you deserve to get your ass kicked. Anybody that does that does.
And what bothers me, though, Mr. Gurnan, is what happened with the four recruit people that in Tennessee that got blasted by some fucking Muslim guy, anyhow, or I believe it was. Anyways, it later showed that a fifth recruitman who had a gun on him shot the guy.
Yeah.
Now he's being fucking charged.
See, Alan West predicted that. I don't know much about the guy. I don't follow Alan West. But you know what? He said that would happen. And here's the kicker, all right? This is what I don't understand. You don't trust, our government, okay,
right,
doesn't trust the men and women that it has put through training to defend our nation with firearms. But you're going to trust Iran with nuclear weapons? Really? Really?
The thing that gets me is it's perfectly okay for us to carry around weapons overseas because we're trained for it there. It's not okay for us to have weapons and use those in tactically formations on shit that would need, in situations that need to be, taken care of here in the United States.
Yeah, and that's bullshit. I really think, you know what? I honestly think, obviously you'd have to put them through some pretty good psychological evaluations, but I honestly think instead of these dumbass, weapons-free zones signs that we've got on schools now, you equip and hire a couple of vets to be there during school hours, and I guarantee you nobody's going to be stepping in there trying to blow kids away.
Amen. I 100%. Here's the deal. You have all these vets that don't have a job, whatever. They're quite capable to have a job, whatever. You pay them and you give them a fucking gun and say, here you go. You stand outside the school doors and stuff like that. Nobody's going to fucking come up in there all of a sudden and be like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just have it, even if you have the guns in a big freaking safe in a little tiny closet-sized office that one or two of them can be in at a time, and you only unlock them when the buses come in and the buses leave. Okay, that's fine. They're in that little office. Most schools now have the locking doors so you can't go in and out freely, even if you're on the inside. It has to be unlocked. Well, anytime people come up to that locked door and they've got a gun, you put a little you could even use one of those stupid little easy buttons you see on the commercials. Put one in every classroom and in the front office. Hit that little button, the alarm in their little room goes off. They open up the safe and off they go, man. All these weapons-free zone signs do is get people killed because the criminals know there's no guns there.
Yeah. And on top of that, talking about schools real quick because I want to get back into more of your writing and stuff.
Take your time, man. I'm like I said, this is fun for me. I'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm not here to plug.
Well, no, but I'm just saying in general. But the problem with the school stuff, like you said, where they have the locked doors, I mean, they have them here in my little podunk town, but I go up there, I hit a buzzer, I'm like, yeah, I'm here to pick up my daughter or whatever, state a name. Oh, okay. I'm buzzed in, I'm free. So if I really wanted to, I mean, if I was a sicko, which I'm not, but I'm just saying, what stops anybody from fucking going, and we got the stupid fucking signs out there too. Oh, no weapon zone, blah, blah, blah. But what stops anybody, dude, from going there and buzzing in if you've got any one of those students' names and saying, yeah, I'm here to, blah, 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 pick up this. they buzz you in.
Well, honestly, I mean, maybe parent ID cards wouldn't be a good idea because somebody could leave that at home in a rush if their child's like hurt or something. But at least have something where you show your ID. It's not that hard. If you're driving up to the school, you're in a car, you have your driver's license. They know who you are. You know, you're identifiable. The only problem is, and I think that's a good idea, by the way, you know, showing your ID.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I have 2 daughters. You know, I'm very protective of them. They're my oldest daughter's boyfriend's got to talk like, hey, see this shotgun shell? It moves faster at night if you hurt my daughter. I think, unfortunately, in this day and age, it's necessary to secure our schools a little bit more than, you know, when you or I were kids. You know, we never even thought about taking a gun to school, man. If you took one of those stupid little flip-around butterfly knives to school when I was a kid, you were a big-time hood. Yes, I'm showing my age by using the word hood. You know, people pretty much didn't associate with you until you stopped bringing that shit to school. The whole taking a gun to school to get yours or get your respect. You know what? Respect is earned. I don't owe you anything except basic human respect until I know you're a good person. You know? It doesn't matter how many people's butts you can kick. It matters what you stand for. I don't care, you know, how much money you've got. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what sex you are. I don't owe you anything. I have been at work since I was 15. Literally, I got a work permit to go and earn myself a car. No one's given me anything. I didn't get any grants or anything for college. I put myself through college working in a hospital at nights. You know, I can't see, thank you. I can't see, you know, getting handouts of money, possessions, or even just, you know, a higher level of respect just because of who you are, how you talk, or you happen to own a firearm. And I have to mention this just because I saw it on my feed yesterday and it makes me sick. How should I put it, dependence of those in the military wanting to be saluted when they come on base or interact with military personnel. Let me tell you something. You have respect because you might be a good human being. And because you're either a man or a woman or what have you. Like I said, basic human respect. People that have been in the military, like TJ right there, those are the people that deserve a salute. Not you, not your husband, not your wife, nothing. Until you sign up and take that oath, I wouldn't expect any member of the military to salute you because your wife or your husband is an officer. You can take that shit and walk right on out that door with that.
Well, I didn't see that. Now, if I would have saw that, I probably would have went on a big-ass rant about that.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what.
And I'll tell you what, even being military, I don't even say that it fully earned you a salute. Whenever I was overseas, you know, and I don't give a shit because I've got a...
No, I disregard.
I've got an autobiography out there and all that, and I've seen it firsthand. You know, that's like my platoon leader when we were there. You know, I mean, he's trained up to do this job. You know, and we go out there and, you know, we started getting ambushed. And he's in the fetal position in the back of the damn Humvee. And he's got us stopped right here in the damn kill zone. And we're just sitting there taking fire for 20 minutes and just returning fire for 20 straight minutes. We end up having to take charge of everything. And we end up having to, you know, deal with that situation whenever that was his job. So, no. I don't even feel like just being in the military deserves a salute. I would never salute him.
Well, I'm just speaking. Well, I can see your point, but just as unfortunately a lifelong civilian speaking, I can see saluting a higher rank. Absolutely, it's just military policy. It's in their guidelines and their bylaws. As a civilian, if I'm in line with somebody and I see a uniform behind me, I'm putting them ahead of me. You know, no, I don't care if I'm at a gas station. I don't care if I'm at Walmart during the Christmas rush, which I never do. I do all my shopping beforehand. Just because that person, be it male, female, whatever, transgender, okay, whatever, they've taken an oath to defend me. All right, that in my mind, if I step out of line and go to the back of the line, let him have a closer spot so he can gas up his car to get to the base, to get to a drill, to get back to the office, to get back to the recruitment center, whatever it may be, that means me, you, and my family is that much safer. You know, granted, I can see why all people wouldn't do that. For me, it's just a respect thing.
Well, and you almost got to even watch doing that, you know, as far as a civilian these days, because, I mean, I can't tell you how many instances that I've seen to where it's like fake people, or not fake people, but people wearing these fake uniforms, and, you know, they go online and they go and just order all these damn awards and shit, and it's very obvious, you know, looking at their age and seeing
the stolen honor thing.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
I get the feeds from that too, man. I watch that.
It's just like, I mean, it's obvious, you know, that fucking you didn't get that award. That shit was back in Vietnam or some shit. You know, you're 20 years old. Yeah, go fuck yourself. You know, I mean, that's the way I look at it.
I've seen one where the dude fucking stops in traffic because some guy's out there in the road trying to get handouts because he's claiming to be a military man that fucking has PTSD and shit like that.
PTSD.
And this guy just fucking stops right there and gets out of the street. He was a big guy who served, and he went up there to that dude doing the handouts and started questioning him on his fucking ranks and everything, and none of it he could explain. And I mean, he was like, he freaked that dude out. He started walking away, but that guy was like on the streets wherever it was like, he was pissed. Take your shit off now. Because you can go to a goddamn Goodwill store and get shit like that and fucking order patches. You can't tell the dick
You can order your patches on Amazon these days. You don't even have to leave the comfort of your damn house.
And that's unfortunate because that takes away from the people that have served.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm not going to lie. I would have done – man, I tried 3 separate branches and they would not take me. I would have loved to have served. Even if I'm in the rear with the gear, I just wanted to do something, you know. I didn't apply for the Coast Guard. Sorry, guys, I don't hate you, but, you know, I just didn't. My hat's off to anybody who served, man. I mean, if you've seen combat, I can't imagine. I mean, normal people, okay, they get in a bar fight, they get mugged, whatever. I'm not taking away from that. But people in our military who have been in combat day in and day out, they're a different breed, man. They just are. You know, it's not like being an athlete in the NFL or, you know, a sports icon or a rapper, whatever you want to call it. People idolize those guys, and it's like, whatever. You know, okay, you're paid millions of dollars to chase a little ball and play a game. I don't care. You're paid millions of dollars to produce music. Guess what? So was Freddie Mercury, so suck it. And he was a much better artist than anybody, almost anybody.
I like Freddie Mercury, man. Yeah.
Well, I mean, military, yeah. I mean, you go and break their pay down, it's actually way below minimum wage.
Oh, yeah, because they're on 24/7, man. I mean, if you get that call, you're gone. I mean,
You know, whenever I was there, they have KBR, the Kellogg Browning Route, you know, that works up there. And the lowest paying job that they had at that time was the guy that was handing out ice. And he did it for 2 hours per day. And, you know, he made $80,000 a year for hand out ice for 2 hours per day. And that was only 5 days a week.
For that, please?
Yeah.
I mean, he got the weekends off though. I mean, he didn't even work Saturday and Sundays. He got to stay in his little fucking cot and shit, you know. And I mean, yeah, we would go get our own ice, you know, for our missions and all that for those days. But you know, I think I averaged out it was about $32,000 for my year and a half being over there.
$80,000. Not to be a jerk, but do you know what I would do for $80,000 a year? Borrow, steal, kill, loot, burn, pillage, and maim. Not necessarily in that order. I mean, that's like the holy grail to me right now, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't make tons and tons of money. I make enough for my family and I to get by. whatever I earn off the books, it's a nice little addition. But I turn around and I'm not gonna lie, I don't spend it on advertising. I don't spend it on promos. I get on Facebook and I start giving away books on different pages.
Yeah, I do the same.
Oh God, what's the one? Zombie Killers 2, All Things Zombie. There's a lot of them. I just go on. I don't get those for free. I just pay them out. Be like, here you go. Enjoy.
Oh yeah.
I've admitted this freely. I'm not in it for the money. If people like it, great. If people hate it, I'm sorry. I wish I could give you your money back. I can't afford it. But if I leave nothing else on this earth after I die, at least those novels are going to be in the Library of Congress. Well, as long as this country's here, they'll be in the Library of Congress somewhere. They'll be proof I existed.
I hate. Well, that's how I feel about with my writing. I don't really. I actually, it's not even really. I don't give a shit. However, at least I did something. And I refer to, and we've had this on a podcast before, and I hate referring to it, but my biggest thing or my inspiration is, Anne Rice. When she wrote that short story Interview with a Vampire, and that's a fucking short story now. It's been now probably 22, 24 years ago.
It's been way over that, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I always say 20 years because when I researched her, when I started,
it was 20 years from the time she wrote it till it was picked up. But I mean, fuck, Interview with a Vampire was back in the 90s.
Some random motherfucker came along and was like, and that's before we had the technology that we have now with, social media technology and fucking this. Some random dude, I can't remember the director, which I really need to remember the director.
Well, why don't you take a pause real quick, and why don't you tell everybody to where they can find you, because we're actually over our time limit.
Oh, jeez. Well, I'm SP Dernan. You can find me on Facebook. Just look me up. You can find my novels on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, even direct through Permuted Press. Now, I've got a blog I'm very behind on, so I'm not even going to mention that. I'm like 4 months back. Find me. I'll talk. If you're a fan of fantasy, fiction, sci-fi, horror, we've got a conversation we can have.
And we would definitely like to bring you back on the show another time.
Absolutely.
Anytime, guys.
Burn you to the ground. 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 Burn you to the ground.